What's up, everybody? Matt Gajewski here, back again with the Stokastic Fantasy Football YouTube channel. And today we are talking early round wide receiver busts. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. This video is also sponsored by Underdog Fantasy, and we will be using their ADP all throughout the show. But if you don't know Underdog, they're the best place to play fantasy football in the summer. They unveiled Basketball Mania 3 earlier this year, which is a tournament that has a $10 million prize pool. All you have to do is draft your team, and that's it. There's no waivers, trades, in-season management. Underdog is going to set the highest score for your lineup every single week, and then the highest overall score at the end of the year wins. In last year's Basketball Mania championship team was drafted in June, so there is no time to wait. Underdog is also going to double your first deposit up to $100 when you use the promo code AWESEMO. That's good for 4 entries into Best Ball Mania 3. All you have to do is head to underdogfantasy.com, the App Store, or even just click the link in the video description below. Use that promo code AWESEMO and take advantage of your free $100. All right, let's get into this. Wide receiver bust from the early rounds. Just for reference, wide receiver bust, that is a search engine optimization term. What we're actually doing here is looking at the top 24-ish wide receivers and finding the ones most likely to underperform. And we call that bust, to use a trendy word in terms of search engine optimization. So looking at the top 24 wide receivers, in the top 10, there's one player in particular I think that is likelier to underperform than others. And his ADP has actually fallen a little bit recently. It's Philadelphia Eagles receiver A.J. Brown, wide receiver 11 on Underdog Fantasy. He is coming off the board with the pick 26.5. And there's a couple reasons for this. None of them have to do with A.J. Brown's talent. He's actually incredibly talented, and he's done so in a less than desirable Tennessee Titans offense to this point. Last year, he was 4th in yards per route run, but he's also entering a situation where he's going to have to win with efficiency, much like Tennessee. Philadelphia is a run-heavy offense. You look at their team last year, they were 31st in pass rate in neutral game scripts, and that's probably not going to change with Jalen Hurts. Now, they did make some investments in receiver. They definitely want to surround Hurts with receiving options, but that could also be a negative for Brown. He's no longer competing with just Julio Jones and the ancillary receivers from Tennessee like Nick Westbrook-Akine. He's now competing with first-round draft pick Devontae Smith, high-profile tight end Dallas Goedert. There's even some ancillary players that do have pretty good pedigrees as well. Quez Watkins is a nice situational player, and Jalen Reagor also has first-round draft capital. The Philadelphia Eagles have 0 vacated targets from the wide receiver position. Now, A.J. Brown is easily the best pass catcher on this team. He's going to command targets regardless. But how many targets is he going to command? If he doesn't win with pure efficiency, it is very hard to see him finishing in the top 10. And again, it has nothing to do with A.J. Brown. It has everything to do with the receivers around him. We're talking Tyreek Hill, Deebo Samuel, Mike Evans, CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams. There's just less questions with those guys inside the top 10. So the number one player likely to underperform is A.J. Brown for the Philadelphia Eagles. And going down the list here, number 2 for me is going to be Diontae Johnson for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is another situation where we have a lot of changing parts. Johnson, he's been productive through his career. Ben Roethlisberger was largely the engine of that. He kind of ran the show there. I know their offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, he likes Diontae Johnson, but Ben Roethlisberger was really the player calling the shots, calling the plays. And last year, Pittsburgh, they were 2nd in pass rate. Now they're moving to Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett, whoever they decide to trot out there. Very likely that this pass rate falls. And then Diontae Johnson was the perfect fit for a Ben Roethlisberger, a low ADOT, less than athletic receiving prospect who would turn around and catch very short ADOTs. Now his targets, he was 3rd in the NFL last year. That probably drops just due to the overall decrease in pass rate. And then his efficiency already wasn't great. He was at 1.83, which was 27th in the NFL. Those are solid numbers. But if I'm going to be looking at a player that likely sees target regression negatively, we need efficiency. And he hasn't always shown that. So this is an issue for me with Diontae Johnson. He's a player that I kind of want to be a little bit below ADP on. And right now he's coming off the board 42.7, wide receiver 20. Another indication that the Steelers might be souring on him a little bit long-term. Reports coming out that they do not plan to sign him to an extension at the end of his contract, which could be a problem moving forward. Last player we will talk about today, tough situation here, and we just got some news in Seattle. It's going to be DK Metcalf of the Seattle Seahawks. He is wide receiver 24 on Underdog Fantasy, ADP of 51.4. This has been dropping, and this actually has nothing to do with Seattle and everything to do with the available quarterback market. Baker Mayfield just went to Carolina via trade, further reducing the available options that Seattle has. That means they're going to trot out Geno Smith or Drew Lock, neither of whom are solid options. And you look at Seattle, even last year with Russell Wilson, this team was 32nd in play volume. They ran 56.1 plays per game. So not only were they 32nd, they were 32nd by a wide margin. And this is a team that already commits to the run. They were 20th in pass rate last year, and that was with a lot of negative game scripts. That probably is not going to change this year. And all this hurts DK Metcalf, who was 16th in targets, and he has solid efficiency, 1.94 yards per route run. That was 20th in the NFL. Again, that's with Russell Wilson. And now we're moving to a situation with Drew Lock and Geno Smith. Even at wide receiver 24, it's hard to see him finishing with this solid ADP outside of just pure efficiency. And behind him, you have the likes of Brandon Cooks, who's definitely playing with more efficient QB in Davis Mills. Rashad Bateman, a rookie hype candidate, which you could see taking a step forward. Juju Smith-Schuster moving from that poor Pittsburgh offense over to an explosive Kansas City offense. Darnell Mooney has been more efficient. Amon-Ra St. Brown has been efficient in small sample sizes. Those aren't the sexiest names compared to Metcalf, but they all have a little more security when it comes to the quarterback position and overall offensive environment. So even at wide receiver 24, which is a little lower than the other guys we talked about, betting against DK Metcalf makes some sense this year. But that'll do it for us today. Again, the three wide receivers most likely to underperform inside the top 24. A.J. Brown, Philadelphia Eagles, Deontay Johnson, Pittsburgh Steelers, and DK Metcalf of the Seattle Seahawks. Let me know who you think is most likely to bust among the early round wide receivers in the comment section, and I will get back to you. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching. I'm Matt Gajewski on Twitter at Matt_Gajewski. We will see you guys again next time.